Hey everybody, it's Will. I'm coming live. I have a couple things I want to get out of this. One, I want to come to my friends at Friends Attached, and I have a question for you. Before I get to that, just to let you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about my good friend Libby Kirkpatrick, who's one of the artists that we've collaborated with many times over the past 20 years with Strings Attached. And I'll put some music on of her singing in the background. Yeah. So my question is, I'm coming to y'all, those of you who are in Friends Attached. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. We're at about 400 people strong right now, and that's been accumulating over the last 3 months. So it's pretty amazing and incredible to have so many of you here. So a lot of you, I'd say about a third, live in South Africa or Canada. And one of the things I feel really strong about is minimalism, living a world where we don't create more stuff that goes in landfills and more greenhouse gases and things like that. And so I want to find out from you what would be some products, some things that would be valuable that you would spend money on that we could produce. So for instance, that piece that I just played at the top right there, I just made that up here right now on the spot. So some of the things I'm thinking about that might be valuable to you as a consumer, as a supporter of our music that doesn't require shipping. When we ship something to South Africa or Canada, we make very little money on it. Very little. Barely any. So here's some ideas that I've had of things that we could produce. Now you may have heard of the musical vignettes. It's where I write a piece of music based on your numbers, like your birthday or your wife's birthday or your anniversary. I take those numbers and they correspond to notes, and then I make a melody or chord changes, and I make a piece that's tailored to the birthday or the wedding or the anniversary. And it's something you can cherish for the rest of your lives. You can pass it down to your family members. Rebecca in the group here, shared it with her whole family. I had another person who had me write a piece for her brother who was going through some really hard times with a health crisis, and the whole family gave that piece of music, and I wrote it. They gave it as a gift for the holidays, and I was able to research what kind of music he enjoyed and write something that was very appropriate to the music that he loved. So that is called a musical vignette, and what's great about that is that I take my time. I write the piece of music. It makes it a very special gift. Doesn't require any shipping, doesn't require me making anything that's going to go into the landfill. And yet something was created that can be enjoyed for a long time, as long as that piece stays in circulation. So along those lines, here's some ideas I've had of some products that don't require shipping. A singing virtual telegram. Let's say you want to send a telegram to your girlfriend or your wife to be. So maybe you want to propose to them. I'm just getting crazy here. We record your favorite piece of music and mention you in it, or put words in it that you'd like, and you send it to your loved one, the person that you want to send that to. So virtual singing telegrams or virtual gifts where we take a piece that you love, a song, and Karen and I perform that song. It could be an instrumental. It could be Karen and I doing a duet. So right now I'm calling it the virtual singing telegram. We also have another thing is called a personal improvisation. So what I did at the top of the what do you call this thing? The top of the session here was I just improvised something. So you, maybe for $50, you give me some influences and I improvise something, or I take your numbers again, like a vignette, and I just improvise something and I dedicate it to you, or I dedicate it to somebody you love and you give it to them. And then you have something personal that I wrote for you that you can cherish the rest of your life. A lot of times some of these will end up on albums and things like that. So you get to know that possibly you're going to be on one of our albums. We'll thank you on an album. So that's the personal improv. Oh yeah. Meditation series. So a lot of people buy meditations with music, and there's a lot of meditations out there that don't have acoustic music. They use electronic music. So what if we had a 30-day series of meditations where I voice the meditation and it's our original music and it's something that you can meditate to? People seem to value that. They value meditations, and that doesn't require any shipping on my part. So I'm coming to you to ask, based on those three things I just mentioned to you, do you guys have any ideas of things that don't require shipping that we could create for you that would be valuable? Now, again, we are creating t-shirts and mugs and all that, but it doesn't really benefit us that much unless a lot of people are buying them. We have thousands and thousands of people buying them. Then if you're, Ed Sheeran, then merchandise is worth a lot, But, so 30-day meditation series with our music, singing virtual telegram, personal improvisations, musical vignettes, custom songs. What other ideas are flowing? I'd love to hear them. Put them in the comments below. I'd love to just hear that. So that's really the main purpose of this session here. But I also want to introduce this new idea where maybe once a week or every couple of weeks I come on and I introduce you an artist that's worked with us and talk about them and just show you my reaction to their music so that it gives you kind of a peek into it in a different way through my head, through my soul. All right? So this artist that I'm going to introduce to you is Libby Kirkpatrick. And, I'll tell you about why I love her so much. Obviously, she's an amazing lyric writer. I tend to be attracted to musicians that don't sound like other musicians, that are highly original. When I hear, I don't want to go there. I'm not going to go there. I was going to say somebody that I don't think that they're that original, but there are a lot of pop artists out there that are just borrowing. I've studied the jazz tradition. I've come up in the jazz tradition, and in the jazz world, they emphasize being yourself, being an individual, and not sounding like somebody else. So that's kind of what I look for when I listen to singer-songwriters. And when I hear somebody just kind of doing this. Now, I have nothing wrong with enjoying music around a campfire and songs, and I love it. But for something that's really going to move me to a deep level, I want to hear something that's a little more. That's just my personal choice, my personal preference with music. So I want to hear something. So Libby is an amazing guitar player, and she brings out notes that have tension in them, chord changes. So hear this, that kind of stuff. And her guitar parts have what we call polyphony. They have bass line, chords, melodies, rhythms. The guitar parts by themselves are very interesting. You could just not even listen to the lyrics and just enjoy her guitar creations. So I'm going to start off and play you a little bit of this collaboration that we did in 2006, where I did the entire Beatles White Album in a church for 800 people. We did 2 shows. 1,600 people came to that. It was the biggest show that we ever done, and I involved a lot of Austin musicians. So I took this piece by the Beatles, which is called Julia. I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do when I take an arrangement. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take, where'd it go? I will listen to the original piece of music first. And I like to create an instrumental introduction. And a lot of times I'll take the chord progression in the piece of music if it's particularly moving to me, which this piece is. It's a gorgeous chord progression. And I'll craft an entire introduction around it that has nothing to do with the piece of music, in this case Julia, except that it has the chord progression. So you'll hear at the beginning of this, it's sort of an orchestral flavor with the trumpet solo and strings. It was none of this was ever on the original Beatles recording. And then it's grafted into the original song. It goes into it, and you'll hear Libby come in, and her way of singing is nothing like the original, but it still retains the soul of the song, I believe. Take a listen. This is live, by the way. This is live. Cello comes in. John Sanders on cello. Light brushes in the background. So that's Steve Zirkle coming in on trumpet. He's improvising that complete introduction, sort of hinting at the melody, but it's kind of a Miles Davis muted Harmon trumpet is what they call that, Harmon mute. And this was done in this church with beautiful acoustics. What I actually ended up doing was I kept the trumpet solo and the vocal and the drums, and I redid the strings because some things were off in the recording. But I put them together. You can hear this okay. Piano comes in there. Oh, they're just like waves of sound that were created and improvised in that church. Again, this whole introduction, the only thing that relates it to the Beatles' Julia is the chord progression. Everything else is improvised on top. I did compose a string section chords that come in there behind the trumpet solo. But again, this is what I do. I take the original song and I try to remake it with my own voice and with the voices of the musicians that I'm working with. So you'll hear eventually the song fades down into the original Julia. This is from the White Album of the Beatles. Okay? So we'll keep playing it. And you'll hear Libby Kirkpatrick come in. And her voice sounds like nobody else. It's just, I can't even think of an artist that she sounds like. I'd be curious if you hear what you think. Go, we're fading down. Simple washes, suspensions.
Half of what I say is meaningless, but I say it just to reach you, Julia. Julia. Child calls me, so I sing a song of love, Julia, Julia.
All right, so one of the great things about this song is that the ending in the chord progression is actually the beginning of the next phrase. So as you can see, I started with this really full introduction with strings, a guitar, and cymbal washes, and occasional little pointillistic piano things coming in. And then it breaks down to just the simple guitar and the vocals of Libby in this beautiful church in 2006 where we did this show live on the radio. And so I try to bring it back to the Beatles original because the Beatles is just guitar and John Lennon, right? But the chords, the picking patterns, it's still very different from the original. Anyway, don't you just love that haunting quality to her voice? So she's actually not playing guitar in this one. She's singing live in the church, and we did this in 2006. So I'm going to play another song, but this is her song that I love her guitar playing on. It's called To a Child. I actually did an arrangement of this, but I don't have a recording of it. So we're going to listen to her version off of her album. And one of my reasons for doing these kinds of presentations is to get you to explore other artists that are not in the popular forum, that you can't find unless somebody like me curates it or suggests that there's amazing artists that are doing amazing work and have done amazing work for many years, just as good as any Pink Floyd's or Led Zeppelin's. And they deserve that as well. They deserve attention as well. So here is, again, the song I love called To a Child, and I'm trying to find it. This her album that I listened to, I think is, Winged, is just her and a guitar, which is this amazing She's has so much. There's so much to listen to with just her and a guitar, and I love just having that breakdown to her universe. So here's To a Child. Really funky guitar part. You can just listen to the guitar part. There's complexity in there. There's bass lines. There's funkiness. But the lyrics are great. And it's about the... Now there's a child coughing in the background, ironically. Okay. Are we okay? All right. There's a child in the background. Having trouble right now. Okay, so if you saw my face there was some sounding like there was some choking going on, but I think we're okay. So here we go with To a Child by Libby Kirkpatrick, my good friend. I'd love to hear your comments below about what I'm talking about. Do you like this kind of thing where you get to hear a piece of music where I kind of talk about it? Like it's like the director's cut, you know? It's a bit of a curation, and then you can go back and explore all of her catalog. I highly recommend this. It's from the Winged album, Libby Kirkpatrick. She's everywhere. You can find her. So here's To a Child.
To a child, the world is on fire, and the moon is an unearthly glow. To the eye, the light is like a liquid. It softens the earth as she goes round. And there is no roof to the sky. There's no definition of life. There's no answer to why remain suspended. It's a question never ending.
Okay, so I'll just kind of jump in there. Why remain suspended? It's a question never ended. And I know that she wrote this song before she had children, so very insightful. One of the things I love about her voice is this sort of acrobatic ability to start then jump up really high and then come back down 3-octave range, and then her sense of dynamics to affect the delivery of the song. This is something that I don't hear in a lot of young pop musicians. They play everything at a high level, and it's all like, what's that called? It's just at one level. It doesn't have dynamics, peaks and valleys. When you listen to this, she'll go down and say, why remain? When she comes back one time, she gets really quiet. Why remain suspended? And then she starts building it up. And, you know, it's all the great things in what I love in music, you know, dynamics and intricacies, subtleties in the guitar playing, space. So I was going to say, there's a lot of music that I hear, this pop music today, and from young people, it's very flat. So I'll just play the rest of this song and you can enjoy it. And then we'll call this session over for today. This is Will Responds to Libby Kirkpatrick, my good friend. You can hear her on Spotify, everywhere. Check her out. And of course, that one cut with us, Julia, on our Will Taylor and Strings Attached Spotify page. Check it out. Let's listen to the rest of it.
To a child, an hour is a lifetime.
An hour.
And a minute is a story and a half. We see a lady walk by in the blink of an eye, and then she's gone and she never looks back. And to me, her laugh is a choir. Pierce my ears and fill them with diamonds, but belladonna in my eyes, and lead me outside and hold me. I believe I'm dying, 'cause there is no roof to the sky, and there's no definition of life. There answer to why remain suspended. It's a question never ending. And the age of youth is a liar, and a Christian on prayer is absurd. I've been wandering lost now for years and years, and I'm sure that I'll never be sure. 'Cause in between the trash heaps there is magic if you look like daisies in the cracks of the sidewalk. And in a gray sky, silver lights, you could lose your mind to find it. But first you have to open your eyes, 'cause there is no roof to the sky. There's no definition of life that I like. There is no answer to why remain suspended. It's a question never ending, why remain suspended. It's a question never ending, why remain suspended. It's a question never ending.
Yeah, see, like so much is happening. It's actually making the hairs on my stand up. I'm almost done. I'm doing a live thing.
Oh.
I'll be right. I'm almost done. So that's Libby Kirkpatrick, my good friend. And for those of you that are new to Strings Attached, what I've done for the last 20 years is I've worked with a lot of artists in Austin, Texas, and worked with them to create new reimaginings of their songs. And I've got this huge catalog of people I've worked with, and so maybe I come here every once in a while and introduce you to a new artist that you can take in. Of course, I want you to listen to my music too, but there's all these branches that go out into all the different artists that I've worked with, and Libby has got an amazing catalog. Did you listen how she was slapping the guitar? It's like kind of this thing. So, that kind of thing, you know, with her and she did this thing kind of thing, real rhythmic. And then there's these moments where she backs off and gets really quiet and pulls you in, just unbelievable. And then she's got these notes where she just sustains it out for a long time while she's playing the guitar under there. So yeah, check out Libby Kirkpatrick. Check it out right now. You will not be disappointed. And let me know what you thought of this episode of Will Responds to Libby Kirkpatrick. Maybe Will responds to Who Should I Do Next? Who have we worked with that you'd like to see me talk about next? And kind of go deeper with the music. Thanks for watching. And for those of you just tuned in right now, wait a few minutes so you can come back and watch it from the beginning. And I love all your feedback, love your comments. Chime in, let me know where you're watching from. And we'll do this more. So, but watch from the beginning. I have a very important question that I could use your input on. Trying to make some things that are environmentally friendly, trying to make less objects that go into landfills and take fossil fuels to move around the world and create things that are made of air and and made of brain power, if you know what I mean. Check it out at the beginning of the episode. Let's hear a little bit of Libby live, shall we? Here's Libby playing live so you can kind of see her. It's beautiful. Probably 10 years ago on this show, on this right here.
Well, if it weren't for separateness, the two could not connect like this. There wouldn't be
Great that I can play her music and not get banned from Facebook.
kiss, the revelation. Beautiful, but angels in the earth raced the wind to sea. The lovers fell and found themselves in the fury. Is this fair? My eyes are clear, my heart open. I felt them, I swore they were right here. But the love that flowed was innocent, meant to be just the sacrament. And letting go again.
See you guys later. Have a great night. Thanks for all your support.